bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paolo De Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. Watch the game live and our past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Now, as we inch closer to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023, the pieces are coming together for Gilas Pilipinas as they prepare to defend our home court. Now, joining us tonight to talk about the latest developments with the national team is basketball analyst Coach Mark Molina and former Gilas member, the Big Chill himself, Isaac Go. Guys, welcome back to the show.
Yes, sir. Lapit na.
Malapit na. Diego will be part of this discussion as a panelist. Kumbaga round table to talk everything Gilas. And
We can go the whole day.
we
just
can
talking
go.
about Gilas.
We actually before the show that's all we were talking about. I want to go and talk about the biggest development so far, which is si Scotty Thompson and si Kai Soto have been declared healthy as of now, trying to get healthier on the way to the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Isaac, good problem for Gilas Pilipinas that health is starting to look up for them.
Definitely, parang may pagkamalas na dati, no, a lot of health issues. But now, at least when the tournament's getting closer in the build-up now, you're getting these pieces back. It isn't the other way around where you're dealing with these injury issues going into the tournament. So, at least may positive outlook towards the tournament.
Coach Mark, ikaw, as a coach, I just wanted to pick your brain about it na ang dami ng options ngayon. Na Scotty's healthy,
Yeah.
Kaya's healthy, you have big men, you have point guards, but for sure, you're gonna have to cut some people. But for you, is that a good problem to have na ang daming available? But 12 lang talaga eh. 12 lang talaga yung makakapasok sa World
It's
Cup.
always a good problem.
Right.
But I thought from the very beginning, the three most important people in this team were Clarkson, Kai, and Scotty. Because the things they do, I don't think can be done by other players in that lineup, in that pool. So having the three of them healthy is a big plus for Coach Chot Reyes. Now, he has to make the difficult decision of making those cuts.
Right.
Because you have to cut 3 or 4 guys
I don't want to be coach.
who are
a
very
coach right now.
who are very deserving. But those 3 guys, I don't think they're in danger of missing that cut.
course.
The 3 guys I mentioned, because they will be probably starters for this team.
You mentioned si Scotty, and he's just recovered. He's already working out and shooting, and or if I'm not mistaken, full contact already. Pero coach, even if he's not, let's say 100%, well, is Scotty still a sure lock para sa'yo for this lineup?
Absolutely, because to me, he's the perfect complement to Jordan Clarkson.
Right.
Because he is a point guard who doesn't need the ball much, and he can still be effective. Plus the fact that he can be a good defensive guard. I think Scotty can guard 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" guys,
Right.
which he has shown in doing that in the PBA consistently. So I think he fits in very well with Jordan Clarkson.
So Gilas will have 3 closed-door friendlies, one against the Ivory Coast, another against Montenegro, another one against Mexico in the next few days. Jegs, we were talking a bit about this beforehand. You were even asking about how this Ivory Coast team could replicate Angola. Gaano ka-importante yun, being able to sort of replicate the style of basketball these teams are going to face?
Well, right. If you think about it, Angola, we're going to be going up against them, and Ivory Coast, they're coming from the same continent. I'm not saying they're going to be playing the same way, but maybe same kind of players in terms of athleticism, the length. And that's going to be a great, practice game for the Gilas Pilipinas. But more than anything, more than them trying to replicate, what they're going to be up against, it's just them getting that chemistry together in these tune-up games, Pao. And it's going to be very crucial for them to gel with Jordan Clarkson, Kai Soto. Now that Scotty's healthy, this is the perfect time for them to gel and to get to know each other, to get ready for the actual games in the World Cup.
Isaac, how important is yung mga continental styles?
Ooh.
They're quite similar eh. Parang just because there's African basketball, South American basketball, they're not completely the same, but there are similarities. And I remember that when we played the Dominican Republic back then, the statement given to us was that South Americans play with a lot of emotion. They play very powerful.
Right.
And they get riled up easily. Because my I guess personal example was that a big man actually shouted, I'm free, give me the ball. And he was free, but his team didn't give him the ball. And I was just laughing beside him, like, yeah, bro, I left you there.
But Isaac, I kind of want to ask you, like, you've played a lot of different international teams. Parang nag-iiba ba yung the way you play against, let's say, certain teams? Let's say if you go up against an Asian way of basketball, or let's say US, where there are a lot of athletic guys there.
I think as a basketball team, you always want to be implementing your style. You want to
Right.
be dictating and not reacting. But of course, you always have to adjust. Just because the style you play against Asia isn't going to work, where Africans, where they're longer, more athletic. The Europeans, the ball moves a lot better,
Tactical,
shooting's
no?
there.
Yeah.
In Asian countries, it's magkalaban Asia, so that there's that rivalry, there's that intensity between one another. So different styles of play will come into play. So, but again, you want to dictate, but you still have to adjust.
You know, I completely forget sometimes that Isaac did play against the Dominican Republic, and he's actually a better resource person than people give him credit for. But Coach Mark, we saw this Gilas team in China. They played a bit differently than what we're used to. Junmar running the floor is something that I don't think we've ever seen in the past. The way that he ran the floor, the way that he played defense was almost college-like
Love to
at
see it.
times. Do you feel that those are going to be the calling cards necessary para sa Gilas to find any measure of success dito sa World Cup?
They have to. They have to be pushing the ball, number one. They have to be moving the ball. They cannot be playing a lot of ISO ball, which we've seen in the last few games. Even before this, the China tournament, you'll see a lot of ball movement in this team, and outside shooting, which should be a big factor here for Gilas. But then again, you have to understand that we are going to play with Jordan Clarkson. So there should be a good mix here, because for sure, Clarkson will also have his touches with the basketball, having the ball 3, 4, 5 seconds in some isolation situations. So we need a good balance from moving that ball and then putting the ball in the hands of Clarkson.
Gaano kahirap if you're if you're a local player to not just overly rely on a Jordan Clarkson?
It's difficult. That's why, to me, if I'm Chot Reyes, I'm looking at the styles of the local players you want to play next to him. And that's why I like Scotty. I like even a Chris Newsom, because these guys are point guards. They can play with the ball, but they're also excellent off the ball and excellent defensive players.
I definitely agree with you, Coach Mark. But sometimes the fan in me is waiting for a Jordan Clarkson just crazy game, like
Take
a 30,
over.
40 point game, just to get the win, because that's what we need, especially with, let's say, a team like Italy. Why not in home court? JC out there just hooping. But you're right, Coach, that all the other players has to complement that style of play. But Isaac, you've played under different coaches here in Gilas. This style of Coach Chot, Jordan Clarkson, how does that fit? How do you see that going?
This Coach Choi, if there's one thing he does, he breeds confidence. And
Right.
obviously, as locals, you are going to differ, because Jordan Clarkson is the import, he's the naturalized player, he's the guy who's played in the NBA. But at the same time, he's going to fuel you, and I think JC is going to do a good job of finding guys, because JC isn't a guy who, and I think Pao can attest to this, his averages have gone up year by year. So Coach Chot's going to give these others on who's with him on the floor the confidence that if JC passes the ball, make a decision, whether it's shoot, whether it's drive, create something good for everybody.
Yeah, again, Jordan Clarkson career highs in terms of assists here. And of course I have
Utah
that.
Jazz.
Of course,
by
of
the
course.
way.
Utah Jazz led the Jordan Clarkson, my goodness. But Coach Mark, we were talking about Kai a while ago, the fact that he's healthy and the fact that he is looking better right now. But there are other bigs in our lineup that also need a bit of discussion. Do you think that Kai Soto would be more likely not splitting the minutes, or would we see a more, I guess, mas babad na Kai Soto in the upcoming World Cup?
You were talking about Junmar. I was pleasantly surprised with what Junmar did in China. Before those games, to me, Junmar was even a question mark. But after seeing that, the way he played with speed, with some perimeter shots, he definitely will be a big part of the rotation. Does he split time with Kai? Maybe you will have big small lineups as well, with maybe Edu at center or Japet and Edu together playing. We will see a lot of that, I think, from Chot Reyes. Not just, but I don't anticipate Kai playing in the 30s.
Right.
Maybe 20, maximum 25, and Junmar playing a lot of minutes as well.
I agree with Coach, because it's going to be a short turnaround. Just a couple of days rest in between games. Isaac knows this. And for sure, they're going to have to split the minutes. I don't think they're going to be playing long minutes, 30, 35 minutes, especially the locals. Kailangan is-split. But Isaac, ito na. It's going to be World Cup. How do you think the home court advantage is going to be there? Scotty's playing. I'm sure like the Ginebra fans also will be, going to be super excited to watch this Gilas team.
There's going to be that shock factor. I think some of these countries, especially the new guys or guys who have not experienced Filipino basketball, will be surprised by the shock factor. I'm pretty sure some of the EuroLeague guys experience to a certain level, but nothing like the Filipino level. So that might be that extra jolt, extra push that we may need to be able to upset these teams.
Yeah.
I want to add one thing.
Go ahead.
And I think it's great that SBP or the organizers played the first game in Philippine Arena.
Right.
Because I think Philippine Arena is one of a kind.
Yeah.
You don't get to play in something as big, as cavernous as Philippine Arena. Anybody playing there for the first time will make adjustments. That happened to the Bay Area Dragons in Game 7 against Barangay Nebra.
And we talked to
So
the
ito yung home
organizers.
court advantage natin.
It's not just crowd.
Right,
I
right.
think the arena will be a factor.
Yeah.
Not just
In the
that,
first
because
game.
we talked to the organizers yesterday, and they're trying to beat the record.
Yeah.
So
They're
in
trying-
terms of the people coming in, Pinoy pride maybe supporting Gilas, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, let's see what happens there. Of course, they're already, based on the press conference with the PSA, there are 28,000 sold tickets already for the opening, and it obviously could rise more in the next few days. But Coach, right before we let you guys go here, we were talking about so many of the star names, but do you feel that there's one name in particular that would probably shine the most because of the way that he plays, that we haven't talked about enough here in this build-up to the World Cup?
I really like Jamie Malonzo. I think he brings something to the table that nobody else does. The combination of athleticism and outside shooting at the forward position. I don't think there's someone like him. So and he has shown in past editions of Gilas that he can be a factor even if he plays 8, 10, maybe 12 minutes a game. He can make a difference even in limited minutes.
Coach Mark, Isaac, really appreciate all the honesty. None of these answers are manufactured. I can attest to that. We've been talking about it a while ago, and we're still saying the same thing, so we're really excited for the World Cup. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for the conversation. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And after the break, we keep things on the hard court as we talk about the exciting growth of women's basketball in the Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. The spotlight is firmly on the women's basketball scene in the Philippines. Now, joining us today to talk more about this are Melissa Newsom and Riza Palmera D. Mga idol, welcome to The Game.
Hello.
All right, let's start it off with Riza. You've had, experience in playing internationally in the UAAP legend, by the way, two-time champ. Riza, you've seen the different kinds of Gilas, with Coach Pat and the previous editions of that. Ano yung nakita mo in terms of like the growth of, Gilas women's basketball dito sa Philippines?
I mean, honestly, nakita ko sa growth ng women's basketball. Back then, I'm playing with Coach Pat back in 2015. So, we got promoted to Division 1.
Right.
And then, a year after that, 2016, we played Siaba and we got gold as well.
Right.
And then fast forward 2019, 2020, back-to-back gold medal, di ba? For Gilas Pilipinas. So I think the progress is there. I think we are on the right track.
Basically, Pao, kung wala sila Riza,
Yeah.
wala tayo sa Division 1 ngayon. Hindi na tayo sa Division 1 since the start.
Oo,
since
tama
that-
yan.
that
Tama yan.
year.
But Mel, we have talked a lot about the achievements of the Gilas Pilipinas team recently. Apart from that, we just go back to the 2019 Southeast Asian Games, winning the gold there. You take a look about the success of the national team. How do you think that has inspired women's basketball here in general, not just grassroots, but even for those playing in the UAP at the moment?
I think it's inspired them greatly. Like even when I moved here, the national team was majority NU. So
Yeah.
seeing
Right.
other players be brought in now, it's inspiring everyone that they can make the national team, and it's raising the level of competition. So, and I think that's why we've been performing well.
Yeah, the Ateneo girls
Yeah.
have start to show up in the national team level.
And she played with some of the Ateneo
Yeah.
girls playing for Gilas right now. But Mel, I just want to quickly ask, the recent editions actually of the Gilas teams, Gilas women's teams, there are a bunch of Phil-Amps coming in, and you've had that experience from,
Yep.
from America coming here to the Philippines. And how is that experience? Slowly the basketball scene is growing, and then the players from the States want to go to the Philippines because it's a basketball crazy country.
It's very different for sure. I know when I first moved here, I was culture shocked within the game of basketball because it's a very different style of play out here. But it's fun, and it's I love being out on that court, and I'm sure all the Phil-Ams feel the same way. So.
You talk about the style. So I want to go to one of the OGs of that style. Reza.
Parang na-reveal yung age
Wala naman. I mean, na-mention mo naman 2015 ka nagsimula sa Perlas at that time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
became
yeah.
Gilas.
Correct.
You talk about the style ng Gilas Pilipinas women. It feels like it's evolved, especially to adapt to the international style. Coach Pat has changed the way the Gilas women have played throughout the years. How would you say the progression has gone from 2015 to today in terms of yung top-level women's basketball natin?
Well, I think malaki yung part is because si Coach Pat, before it's his first stint sa back then, 2015 first
Right.
year niya coaching the national team. Pero ngayon, I can see na alam niya na yung flow with regards sa mga babae, kung paano niya iikot yung mga tao. And at the same time, nag-evolve na rin talaga because nag-focus na siya more of drive, kick-out, shooting. So, yun yung mas nag-click for mga current stint natin nationally.
Mel, for the uninitiated, whether you be watching abroad or you're here and you're curious about women's basketball here, how would you describe, simply put, women's basketball here in the Philippines? The style of play, what you're going to feel once you play against a seasoned Filipina baller?
Very quick, fast-paced game. I know we talked about it earlier. Very scrappy as well. I know when I moved here, I was initially a shooting guard, and then when I moved out here, they converted me to a forward because the game is that fast
That
out here.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, Jetgo, when he started out, he was a center.
Yeah.
But
Never happened in my life.
Grade school center.
but sa mosquito level, no?
Anyway, so let's talk about Gilas. I mean, from Gilas Women's, let's talk about the UAAP. I believe that there wouldn't be the Gilas players now without the UAAP, without the opportunities that the UAAP would give these women hoopers. Ikaw, Riza, nakita mo rin you're a two-time champ in the women's division. How has that grown? Yung how we recognize women's basketball here in the Philippines from your time to now?
Actually, nag-start kami during my days. Nakita ko, wala masyadong PhilAms, imports. But now, because of the recruitments, nag-start sa NU. And then, sumunod na lahat ng schools.
Right.
So, na-challenge sila. And it's a good thing because tumataas yung level of competition here in the Philippines.
Yeah, you take a look at girls like si Jack, who started out in the UAAP, now has billboards in EDSA.
Yeah.
Mel, you take a look at the type of inspiration that brings to some of the younger UAAP players. Just what do you feel that means to them?
Jack, for instance, when I played against her, I always thought she deserved it. She was one of the best players I played against in the UAAP. Not only did she have the size, but she had the skill as well. So seeing her now that she's one of our idols and she's excelling in the game, for sure that inspires younger girls that want to be like her. And she proved to them that it is possible to break those boundaries.
Well, definitely. It starts, in all these different leagues
Yep.
for women's basketball just to get recognition. And Riza, how do you see this going in terms of women's basketball in general? How will it progress? How will it, gain more traction dito sa Philippines?
Especially with how competitive the UAP is set out to be
Right,
right now.
right.
Again, Ateneo, LaSalle, all look good. UST look
Sumasabay
good.
na,
Yeah, NU are no longer just the sure winners. It's always going to be a competition
Dati
right now.
tinatalo lang nila yung NU.
Yeah, well,
Anyway.
Well, alam mo, I'm really happy kung nasan yung women's basketball because there's a lot of opportunities. Like for us, diba, we were invited to be a sports analyst this coming UAAP. So, I'm happy because maraming opportunities now for women's basketball.
Oh, na-announce na dito sa The Game.
They announced it themselves.
Riza and Melissa.
Talking about opportunities. Yeah.
Talking about opportunities, great segue. These two are going to be part of the UAP coverage for the women's basketball. We're excited to see you're all under training right now. I know your teachers. Okay. Yeah, and we can't wait to see how great you're gonna do. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we've got more sports stories after the break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back. You're watching The Game. We are inching closer to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023, so don't miss out on all the exciting action with Signal Pay-Per-View. Experience world-class basketball action at home with Signal's FIBA World Cup pay-per-view offer for only 650 pesos. Watch all games from start to finish, no commercial, and in HD. Plus, get access to exclusive FIBA shows. Visit signal.tv for more details. The FIBA World Cup pay-per-view is also available to satellite subscribers. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Daria.
Catch us weeknights here on One News and on the Pilipinas Live app, where you can watch us live and our past episodes on demand for just 99 pesos a month, available for download on Google Play or the App Store. I'm Paulo de Rosario, and this has been The Game.